I'll just come out and say this. From its questionable awkward moments with Cloud Retainer, to its questionable awkward moments with the Adepti, to its questionable awkward moments with Xiao, to its, you know what, this year's Lantern Rite Festival should just be called Immortal Senior Citizens trying to fit in with the youngsters, I'll be real with you. But I digress. This year's Lantern Rite was an absolute beauty of a story about familial love, relearning norms and customs, helping others, and change. With the star of the show, Gaming, today I want to show you my personal analysis of the deeper themes of the lore of this year's Lantern Rite. Enjoy! This year's Lantern Rite takes a different approach to the festivities compared to its previous iterations. Whereas the previous Lantern Rite gives precedence to the customs themselves and how Liyue operates under the hustle and bustle of the event, this year's Lantern Rite focuses on what the festivities mean for an individual. This year's Lantern Rite stopped becoming this massive event for all of Liyue and instead became an instrument for one character's growth, which to me is an intelligent shifting of gears for an event that's happened 3 times already in the lifespan of Genshin. And it shows that Genshin, narratively, isn't afraid to adapt to its growing audience. And I want to show this by comparing it with the previous themes of the old Lantern Rites. The first ever Lantern Rite served as our introduction to this event, with only Xiao and Kaya being the featured characters in the story quest primarily. The story quest itself features a lot of fetch activities, where the traveler indulges in the festivities by gathering materials, creating lanterns, and interacting with NPCs to learn about the cultural customs of Liyue instead of focusing on the playable characters themselves. It's basically what do you do in the Lantern Rite instead of who are you with during the Lantern Rite. It's a window into the event itself, with Xiao being our main catalyst. It's a nice parallel that the character we're with is also someone that's relatively new to the whole thing, though due to different circumstances. So in a way, both him and the traveler are trying to learn what to actually do during this event. The second Lantern Rite, though, rewrites this entire story, and moves it through the lens of Kutching. Kutching essentially becomes our guide throughout the story quest as we meet different people and ask them how they're enjoying themselves. We ask them about their experience with the Lantern Rite and how they plan to celebrate the festivities, with the focus mostly being on the human characters celebrating and relaxing. The next Lantern Rite, though, takes a whole different approach to the event and focuses on the historical aspects. The third Lantern Rite has a stronger focus on the past, with the primary NPC to be accompanied being someone that we've never met before. Dvorak becomes our prying eyes into the world of the Adepti, and here we see the lore of Cloud Retainer, Madame Ping, and the illustrious Guizhong. Throughout the story, we learn about the past of the Adepti through the lens of the Immortals slowly adapting to the customs. They reminisce about the past, and we even see old friendships and dynamics at play. But the core of the third Lantern Rite was understanding the history of Liyue. Now, we mix the themes of the third and the second by focusing on the past of a normal person instead of an Adeptus. The core of this year's Lantern Rite story is the prospect of change and growth, as is evident with a lot of characters that we meet along the main questline. Kites are the primary symbolic item in this story, much like how Xiao lanterns were in the first, fireworks for the second, and music for the third. Kites are used to symbolize one's ability to soar to grand potentials, to defy gravity through their passion, wishes, and desires. However, though a kite flies high, it mustn't lose its way and become untethered, because one string is symbolic of its home and its true nature that it should never stray from. And the Lantern Rite beautifully shows this through its main character. It sets its tone with the first part, where we meet Gaming as we're escorting him through Chenyu Vale. We slowly uncover his story as we avoid his family and relatives. His father wanted him to pursue the tea business and feared that Gaming's future would be jeopardized if he pursued wushu dancing. Uncle Yip believed that Gaming's current lifestyle was good in the short term, but as he would grow older, his father fears that he can't cope with that kind of intensity anymore. Gaming, however, is determined to prove himself that his craft is worth the sweat and tears he's going through. He believes that his true passion and ambition lies in wushu dancing, and not in the tea business. As such, he ran away from home, moving to Liyue Harbor to pursue his dreams and career. However, though Gaming is determined to make a profession out of wushu dancing, he keeps his feet grounded as he realizes that he needs a job to busy himself with, as well as to keep the lights on. Therefore, he works as a guard for the Sword and Strongbox Secure Transport Agency, and primarily escorts goods and people to and from Ilong work. However, though he has separated himself from his past, he still believes that he is tethered much like a kite. For no matter how high he thinks he has soared, he will always be tied down by his past tribulations. But as the other characters learn of Gaming's past, they become determined to assist him in fixing his relationship with his father. With the help of Xianyun and the others, Gaming is able to show his passion and talent talent for wuxia dancing, and that though his father worries about his child's future, he soon sees that Gaming's dedication is more than enough to thwart any problem that Gaming faces along the way. But while Gaming is the primary focus of this year's Lantern Rite, the theme of change is also present in the other characters. The mighty Adepti, for example, have taken it upon themselves to slowly reacclimate into the festivities of Liyue Harbor and adjust to the technological changes in Liyuean culture. In the story, a new Fontanian mechanism makes itself popular among kite making, making it so that one no longer needs the wind to propel the kite, and also to increase the stability of the kite when it flies. With this little conundrum, we see how the different immortal characters of Liyue adjust to this innovation, whether it be Xianyun's irritation of the new mechanisms being enticing yet menial contraptions, or Mountain Shaper and Moon Carver giving this strange Fontanian tech a try, or even Xiao and Zhongli comparing the difference between the Fontanian tech and the traditional method themselves. Some people also receive their own character developments in smaller moments, such as Xiao asking the Traveler if they could accompany him as they released Xiao's handmade lantern for the first time, which is one of the biggest character moments that we've seen, especially if you know the Yaksha's history from the previous Lantern Rites. Other characters have also witnessed change in their story, or at least were referenced during the dialogue. For example, Shenhe's development into reintegrating herself back into mortal life is shown through her telling her experiences as a waitress in Wanmin restaurant. Yao Yao and Ganyu also catch up on their own endeavors, and the three disciples participate in Xianyun's kite-making workshop as they catch up on their own stories. This Lantern Rite also features Fontanian characters as they arrive to Qiaoying village to relax and unwind. A lot of people were wondering why they're featured in the final parts of this story when it's supposed to be a Liyuean event, but in my honest opinion, Liyue and Fontaine's themes are interconnected, especially when it comes to the topic of change. It's not exactly out of the blue that the characters who have also developed during the recent quests are featured in an event about soaring to new potentials. Navia and Cloran rekindled their friendship after they resolved Calus's case, and here we see one of their many moments hanging out together outside of their strict business hours. Farina is finally free of her own shackles and is able to live a quiet life among the pleasantries, and we even see her slowly accept new friendships into her life, a luxury that she wasn't able to do so during her time masquerading as the Hydra Archon. Even Neuvillette is making his attempts at taking a vacation as per Farina's suggestion, though it is quite short-lived. In the event, we even see him attempt to banter with Risley, though it's not completely without fault. And he's developed his own hobbies outside of judicial matters. It's very interesting to see how even though the Lantern Rite is meant for Liyue characters, it reminds us that the festivities are meant for everyone. Change has always been a theme in Liyue's narrative, from the very beginning of the Archon quest up until this point in Genshin's development. The age of gods and deities has long been gone now, and this is evident with the changing themes of the Lantern Rite. Whereas the Lantern Rite was shown to us primarily as an event to honor the Adepti, it slowly became an event where people and friends can get together and enjoy a moment of peace despite the turbulence of life. My only gripe with this quest is that I wish that they introduced more Liyue characters. There's a lot more from the roster missing in the main quest, but such is life. The Lantern Rite throughout the years has instead become an opportunity for individual character growth, and perhaps that is the true festivities along the way.